Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Damon Campbell with Music'sMyLife.com here at the intersection in Grand Rapids, Michigan with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, how you doing, baby? My name's Grieves from Rhymesayers Entertainment.
Well, Grieves, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. Definitely appreciate your time.
Of course.
Now we're here on the Back on My Grizzly tour, which I find to be an appropriate name because you really have been touring like an animal over the last few years.
Yeah.
But be able to start performing in the first place, I understand you had to overcome like some pretty bad panic attacks that you would have when you were younger.
Yeah, I never actually wanted to be on stage. I kind of wanted to be like a studio guy. That's what I went to school for, and it was like I liked sitting in a room with the gadgets and making the music and writing songs.
Yeah.
I never really thought about performing all that much. Until I did, and then it happened, and I really didn't like it at first, and yeah, a lot of panic, a lot of problems with that. I don't really know how I tamed it. I used to drink a lot before I'd play, and then one day,
as you have the Corona in your light in your hand now.
My goddamn it, it's been a long day beer. Yeah, so
I hear you.
This is different.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I understand you grew up playing in some bands, though. Did that help you out in terms of the performance aspect, or not really?
No, because we never had shows because we sucked real bad. It was just it was like a creation thing, you know. It kind of sparked the creative process with me, and wanting to make music and trying different avenues and learning what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
My favorite part about making hip hop was I didn't have to make it with anybody else. Like I could do everything.
Right.
It was all kind of in the box, you know.
Yeah, totally.
And I liked that.
And then you spent some time battling as well, particularly through the radio station KCSU.
Yeah. When I was younger, I did some battles. For a while, like Fort Collins really tried to like cater to the hip hop scene. We didn't have much of a hip hop scene. Like we didn't have a lot of locals.
Right.
We had this guy named Sentence that was like the rap dude. Everyone like looked up to him, and there was Derek, who's actually Pretty Lights now.
Oh wow.
But he used to be in a hippie hip hop band called Listen.
Okay.
And they were like the shit around town.
Yeah.
So that's all, but that's all we had.
Yeah.
So like the college started doing that stuff, and you get like people down from Denver. You like Black Pegasus would come down and just whoop everybody's ass.
Right.
Because we didn't have that scene or that culture going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried that. It wasn't for me. Right. I just thought that's how you had to do it. And my roommate was like all about it. He was from Hibbing, Minnesota.
Okay.
And he had moved there, and he's kind of the dude that like got me into rapping. And he was all about battle rapping.
Yeah.
And so, just kind of looking up to the dude, I guess I did it too.
And wasn't that where your the name Grieves actually came from?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the story there?
Needing a moniker, not having one, signing up under Benjamin is a pretty lame thing to do. So, I signed up for one at the Aggie, and we're actually playing it on this tour.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up walking around I used to wash dishes at this restaurant down the street.
Oh, really?
And so I walked down there and sat in their little lounge and came up with that name.
Awesome.
So.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, you started off kind of booking your shows through MySpace, just going around in your Toyota Camry station wagon. But then
you already know all the answers.
But then it was like your possession of a van that kind of helped you, or kind of led to you going on being able to go on the Atmosphere tour in 2007?
Well, yeah, Gray Skull needed a van, or all those dudes needed a van, and
they're from Seattle as well, right?
Yep. And I had one, so we did that, and I used it as leverage to get a little shine.
Yeah, because you DJ'd for him as well.
I DJ'd for him, and I got a drop of 16 bars every day on their stage.
Okay.
And then Mac Lethal did the same thing. That's when I met that dude, because Gray Skull worked out the deal that I would get to rap during his set too if he was riding in the van. It was kind of weird, but it worked out.
Right.
And that's where, I printed all those demos out and handed them out, because the record was already out and done. I just knew that people wouldn't buy it.
The Irreversible record?
Yeah. You can't... I wasn't expecting anything, so I figured you might as well give some stuff away for free, but don't give it all away for free because I do want them to check the record out.
Yeah.
So, I gave them some teasers, and it worked out really well. So
awesome. And that was the Everybody Loves the Clown tour. Clowns, of course, being known for tricks. And speaking of which, were you actually at the skate park when you first discovered Rhymesayers?
Dude, how did you know all this stuff? Yeah, I found like this like CD. We were at the skate park by the Epic Center in Fort Collins, and I found this like blank CD or whatever and popped it in, and then that was like, it was really hard to find stuff at that time because I didn't know what it was because it wasn't labeled, and they said Atmosphere and the song, and the internet really wasn't. It was not what it is now.
Right.
So it was kind of hard to figure out where to get the music, and it was like the Napster, LimeWire kind of days.
Okay, yeah.
And so I could like find some songs here and there, and then I went down to our local record store, which was the Finest, and they ordered like all the Rhymesayers stuff.
Wow.
And then we picked it up from there. Or you could go to Denver and get
crazy.
some records, but yeah, that's how I found out. And then those guys, I lived in a house full of people from Hibbing, so they knew of Rhymesayers, and there was a dude from Iowa City that was like all about the Slug and Atmosphere. He had like the old Headshot tapes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So we used to ride around and bump those, and that was like my first introduction to Rhymesayers.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I suppose you could say that that CD was kind of a diamond in the rough. And on a related note, didn't your dad used to take you to a place called Kingston Mines when you were little?
Jesus, man. Yeah, he did. It was a blues club in Chicago, and my dad's a huge blues fan. So when he wanted to go, he'd bring my ass out there, and we were lucky enough to he'd convince him to let me in, and it was a cool experience because it's like there's 2 rooms, and each room has a stage. So when one band's playing, the other band's setting up in the other room, and you just like run from room to room to room to room.
Wow.
It was really cool.
And not only was he able to convince them to let you in, but he also like managed to introduce you to a lot of the acts as well.
Yeah, he would, like embarrassing dads do.
Yeah.
Oh, go get a picture with him. And wearing like a large, bought me like a large T-shirt that like went down to my knees.
Right. Did he have like an in, or were they just?
No, he's just an outgoing dude,
Okay, yeah.
And when you have a kid, you can kind of get anything.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my kid really wants to fucking talk to you, and
Right.
when really he just wanted to talk to him.
Yeah,
But
just using you as his.
it's a good in.
Yeah.
Y'all should have kids so you can get what you want.
There you go. Was Ronnie Rice the first one that he took you to?
Ronnie Rice, I think, as far as I'm concerned, is the first concert that I ever went to. I remember it sucking something fierce,
really?
and it was in a park somewhere, and he was singing that Ding-a-ling song.
Yeah.
And I was rocking around singing that Ding-a-ling song, and my mom was like, stop singing about your dick.
Right.
And I didn't know what it was. I was from like 3rd, 4th grade or something like that.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
But I think that was my first. It was like concerts in the park or something like that.
Yeah. And I understand your grandpa was actually a concert pianist back in the day as well?
He was, yeah, in Poland and in Germany. And when the Holocaust hit, he kind of left all that behind and came to America and opened up a grocery store.
Okay. I don't know if it was his in particular, but weren't you actually working at a grocery store when you met a fellow named Oki?
That's the dude from Hibbing.
Oh,
what the
okay.
hell, dude? You're like this gypsy.
But yeah, he kind of like helped you hone your craft then.
Yeah, he's the guy that I was talking about that like doing all the
I
battle
wondered.
rapping, and yeah, that's Oki. He lives in Seattle now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
he married a Canadian.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
And well, good for him. He may not have helped you out necessarily on the business side of things, but one thing that we do all know is that money doesn't grow on trees. But
No.
in a way, though, doesn't your career, or at least maybe certain aspects of it, sort of stem from you and your buddies always hanging out by one tree in particular when you were younger and like exchanging music?
I mean,
Like
we all.
across from school and some.
Oh, I mean, we used to smoke drugs across the street from school
Okay.
and like listen to West Side Connection records and shit like that. But
Okay. Was that?
I wouldn't call that a growing process
Right.
so much. That was kids being shitty little kids.
Yeah.
And we had figured out that it wasn't school property, so we would just walk across the street and smoke drugs, and all the teachers would be like, "You can't do that. You can't tell us not to."
Yeah.
So it was, there was like some tree, and we'd sit behind it. Like for some reason, we thought we were invisible.
Right. Is it true that you originally went to school to be like a teacher?
Yeah, I want to be a kindergarten teacher.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How did you make the transition there?
I just feel like there's not like one way to reach a person, and when I was in school, they were really adamant on there being like 3 ways to reach a person.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's true, and it definitely wasn't true for me. It didn't really make sense that way, like I wasn't able to be reached that way at all as a kid. And I think everybody deserves a chance, and whatever it takes, I think should be done.
Definitely.
But the education system is so fucked to begin with that they're not going to let you just run free on it. And I mean, you could. There's like different schools that you can do that, and definitely that's kind of my saving grace was the high school that I went to that kind of was a freak what you feel kind of teaching technique. But generally, that's not an acceptable thing. So it just didn't work out for me, and I lost the passion for it after all that. And music was a huge part of my life at that point, and figured why not go to music school. So I dropped out and I went to music school and learned more about the business and the sonic side of things and shit like that.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of people who are quite glad that this is the path that you ended up choosing. Lastly, at this point in your career, do you in any way consider music your life?
It is my life. I can't escape it.
Okay.
It's a love-hate relationship sometimes, because music used to be that thing that I made because I had to, because it was just boiling up inside of me. There was like, you'd be at work like writing songs down and shit like that. And now it's like having to write a song,
that you have to
needing to write songs, needing to make records is the struggle.
Yeah.
There. But it's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And I actually asked that because of my site, once again, being musicsmylife.com.
Yeah.
So, but Grieves, thank you so much for your time, man. It's great chatting with you.
Good to meet you, man.
Absolutely. Best wishes with everything coming your way. Is there anything else you want to say to the people out there watching?
Nope. Thanks for the support, y'all. We'll see you next time.
There you have it. Once again, I'm Damon Campbell, and this is Grieves. Thanks for watching.